So this is Lockard at the Sailing Club at the far west end of the loch. We're here for the weekend. It's Friday and we leave Monday morning. The weather forecast looks really nice.
I've told you around the master's thing. Just a... People are getting a little bit crazy.
60th anniversary. 60th, they did it for their 50th anniversary.
So this is Sunday at Lockard, and a little bit of easterly winds filled in, and we're bombing along. So this is us leaving Crewe on Monday evening, about 7:30. It's just about an hour down the coast to Little Anchorage, and then tomorrow we'll aim to sail around to Taybialik. There's a nice little northwesterly, and the tide it's a high tide now, and then so the tide will take us just down to the anchorage. Then tomorrow morning we need to leave at about 8 in the morning, and then we'll get the full ebb tide down to the start of Loch Sween. So this is the first morning, and last night we sailed just down from Crewhaven to an anchorage just north of Doris Moor and settled in here for the evening. It's about 10 to 8 in the morning, and we need to leave at about 8 and take the ebb tide all the way down to the entrance of Loch Sween. The wind is forecast to be west, so that should be okay. That should just be on our side, so we can sail down quite nicely. So this is us heading north, coming up towards Carseg. We're doing about 6 knots now. The tide is just starting to pick up with us. We'd come round the south end out of Loch Sween, and it was a bit lumpier than I think we thought. There's quite a decent westerly wind, force 4, and I think the tide had turned, so it was kicking up quite nicely as we came round. So this is us on Sunday, and we've left Croofhaven to sail over to Ardnamur to get the evening tide round to Poldoran. It's blue sky, sunshine and force 3 wind.
Through Kew Sound.
Yeah, through Kew Sound. So it's absolutely perfect weather.
And perfect hell.
We're just heading over towards one of the islands where some of the others have just anchored up for lunch. We had a little bit of early lunch in the marina. So this is Tuesday morning, and we've just taken the flood tide up to Tobermory in, well, no wind or very, very little. So we've put the sails up and we are motoring, and we're actually doing without much effort because there's just a bit of breeze putting us along. We're doing 4.5 knots actually, and the engine's only just ticking over. But hopefully just in a bit we will be able to switch the engine off and we'll be able to sail up to Loch Sunart. So this is Loch Don at about an hour after high water, and I think it's going to be a very, very different place about 11 o'clock tonight. At the moment it's full up with water, and later on when the tide goes out there's quite a narrow channel which we are sort of all anchored in. It is actually quite deep. It's you know, we're in sort of 6 or 7 meters here. We'll lose 2.5 overnight, but it is the most delightful spot, and I think it's going to be a bit of a wildlife paradise really. Already there's some geese out with goslings, 3 families for an evening stroll. And we have seen a seal as well. So this is heading north alongside the Isle of Creara, looking over to the south end of the Sound of Mull, and it's a bit after 1 o'clock and the wind has just filled in. The tide is going slack, and about 2, perhaps a touch after 2, it will turn, flow north and take take us up to Port Ramsey, and for the first time in a long while actually got the wind from behind. So put the jib stick out, or boat hook, and the boat is just nodding along very nicely by itself without having to have a fight. We're now looking over to the Isle of Carer, and on the news this morning it is actually talking about drought conditions in Scotland, which I can believe because it's not rained. Well, we've been up here over 2 weeks and it's not rained, and there's some rain perhaps at the weekend, but it's only very slight chance. So this is Port Ramsey just after high tide on a spring tide, and it looks very, very different than we've seen before, because what normally is very, well, it's still very sheltered, but you definitely feel the water is higher than on previous visits, and the shoreline is definitely a long, long way away. Far distance there is Linney Marine, and you can just see masses of boats moored, well actually, and all their masts above the little island there. There's still quite a good breeze blowing this evening, which has picked up during the day, which seems to be the pattern at the moment. So here we are heading south along the outside of Carer, heading towards Poldora, having come down from Port Ramsey last night.